In the year 2093, Japan becomes a chaotic place filled with terrifying smelly monsters that appear from nowhere. These creatures destroy cities while crime all over the world reaches its highest point in history. Governments everywhere fail to protect their people and have no way to stop these monsters. Just when all hope seems lost, a powerful superhero rises. He defeats countless monsters, even the strongest one known as the Monster King. He also defeats many dangerous criminals, bringing back order to the world. People call this hero Zero. He does not keep his powers to himself but shares his knowledge and trains new superheroes to fight evil. Peace finally returns. But then, Zero suddenly vanishes. Now, 5 years have passed, and nobody knows where he is or if he is even alive. Turns out, Zero's real name is Lin Jie in real life. He is an unlucky jobless man who lives like a loser. His sister kicks him out of the house because he has no work. Even she does not know that her brother is secretly Zero. Lin Jie walks around town with nowhere to go. He then finds himself at a music concert by a group called the Shurshin Clan. This group is not just a boy band that teenage girls love, but also a team of heroes with powers. Suddenly, a gunshot is fired from the crowd and the bullet almost hits the band's leader. The shooter reveals himself as Lord Black, a small-time villain who wants revenge. He is angry because the Shurshin clan once beat up his men. The crowd screams and runs away while Lord Black's henchmen aim their guns at the band. The long-haired lead singer uses his powers to knock the guns away and forces the villains to fight with their hands. The rest of the group deals with the henchmen while the lead singer faces Lord Black. He dodges all of Lord Black's attacks and defeats him with one strong punch to the stomach. Just when the villains try to escape, Lin Jie surprises everyone by putting handcuffs on Lord Black's leg, humiliating Lord Black and making him furious. Earlier, the Shurshin clan made a secret deal with him. They told him to fake a fight at their concert so they could look heroic and move up in rank. The plan was for Lord Black to lose but escape just in time. Now that Lin Jie has arrested him for real, he believes the Shurshin clan has tricked him. He refuses to let it go. His body suddenly transforms into a huge monster, and he throws the band members into the air. Just then, a hero named Zhan Chen arrives. He belongs to the Hero Association and wears special gloves that can kill even an elephant with one hit. But instead of hurting Lord Black, the gloves only launch him into the air. Zhan Chen does not give up and uses many different weapons, but none of them land a hit. Even while bleeding, he keeps fighting to protect the people. His bravery inspires Lin Jie. Moved by his courage, Lin Jie pulls out a giant spiked weapon and knocks out Lord Black in one hit. Zhan Chen is shocked by his strength and immediately asks Lin Jie to become his partner and form the strongest hero team. At that moment, another hero named Lady Handong Manyu shows up to investigate what happened. Lin Jie takes the chance to quietly leave without Zhan Chen noticing. When he gets home, he sees his sister break up with her boyfriend, Long Wenfeng, who is also a superhero. She wants to end the relationship for the sake of her career. After kicking him out, she turns to Lin Jie and asks if he has found any job. When he says no, she starts yelling at him for being useless and lazy. Suddenly, Zhan Chen arrives at their door. He introduces himself and tells her that if she agrees to work with him, she will earn good money and solve her job problem. The moment she hears about money, she happily says yes. Lin Jie is left out of the conversation as the two talk excitedly about a future that does not include him. The next morning, Zhan Chen takes Lin Jie to the Hero Association. He explains the superhero law that started 5 years ago after Zero vanished. Now every hero must register and receive a rank from S to I. Many heroes were against this rule and quit. To register, Lin Jie must pass a test. His opponent is a strong B-rank hero named Mr. Yatten. Lin Jie has to survive for 3 minutes, but he decides to win the fight before that. Mr. Yatten turns his arms into giant crab claws and attacks. Lin Jie dodges all attacks and finishes the fight with one heavy blow. Lin Jie passes the physical test easily, but then learns there is also a written test. He gets nervous. In the end, he scores only 13 out of 100. This score earns him the right to be called a total idiot. The next morning, Yatten wakes up in the hospital after having a nightmare. He starts crying like a child. Manyu walks in and tells him not to feel bad. She explains that the person he fought might actually be as strong as an A-rank hero. But then she shows him Lin Jie's written test results and says something sad. Even though Lin Jie is super strong, he only got 13 out of 100 in the written part. Yatten looks confused, so Manyu tells him to read the last question. It asked for his personal idea of a hero. Lin Jie simply wrote that he doesn't want to be a hero at all. He adds that he doesn't even know what justice really means or if the word has any meaning at all. Meanwhile, in the main hall, Lin Jie and other candidates stand in front of the results board. Zhan Chen laughs when he sees Lin Jie's score. He teases him and says maybe Lin Jie should first complete 3rd grade before trying to be a hero. He makes more jokes, but Lin Jie doesn't get upset. He calls Zhan Chen noisy and walks away. Zhan Chen walks beside him and tries to cheer him up. He says that no one can become a hero by working alone. You need partners, good team members, and strong connections to rise in rank. He advises Lin Jie to be more open to teamwork. Lin Jie asks if having weak people on the team would not bring everyone down. He also says that depending on others doesn't feel like true heroism. Just then, they see 3 low-rank heroes picking on a shy guy with glasses. These bullies order him to stay away from them forever. The boy defends himself by saying that if he doesn't use his powers, more innocent people could get hurt. But the bullies don't care. They say that if the criminals escape, it's better than letting someone like him catch them. They only want to rank up, and civilians are not important to them. They tell him to quit the Hero Association or face more beatings. The boy calls them fake heroes. They laugh and say that he'll end up dead like Zero. One of them throws him aside, but Lin Jie steps in and catches him easily. Zhanchen gets angry and punches the bully who threw the boy. But the guy blocks it and insults Zhanchen for being another fan of Zero. As he is about to hit back, Lin Jie stands between them and pushes them apart. The bully steps back and proudly says they are the Golden Triangle Brothers, a famous group of D-rank heroes. Just then, a blue-haired boy calls out to them from the side. The brothers freeze in fear. They recognize him as 13, an unlucky E-rank hero. As 13 calmly walks toward them, they get scared and run away like frightened puppies. Lin Jie and the others are surprised when the glasses boy introduces himself as Qing. Lin Jie jokes and calls him Four Eyes, then asks about the blue-haired guy. 13 introduces himself and says he's feared even though he has a very low rank. He says that Lin Jie and his friends are the first people to treat him like a normal person. Lin Jie asks if he really doesn't have any friends. 13 shows a picture on his phone of his favorite character from Genshin Impact. Zhanchen laughs and says 13 is a weeb. Lin Jie, also a fan of Genshin, happily shows his favorite character too. The two instantly become friends. Lin Jie puts his hand on 13's shoulder and asks if he wants to join his team. 13 gets emotional and starts crying because no one has ever wanted to be his friend before, let alone invite him to join a team. Lin Jie feels a bit awkward seeing him cry so hard. Qing asks 13 about his power. 13 explains that his power is bad luck. Lin Jie asks if he can make only his enemies unlucky, but 13 says no. His power affects everyone around him, friends included. 13 goes on to tell his sad past. He says he was cursed with this power since birth. People called him the unlucky ghost. The orphanage where he lived burned down. He was moved to another one, but a landslide destroyed that one too. Every place he lived in got ruined, so he ended up on the streets. Still, once in a while, good things happen to him. He gives an example of Zero saving his life once, and Lin Jie starts to wonder if that moment is connected to his own past. 13 jokingly pretends to be Zero and punches a pillar nearby. But because of his bad luck, the pillar breaks. It turns out to be a weak spot, and the whole building starts to collapse. The roof falls, and many people get hurt. Qing gets trapped under a huge piece of debris. Lin Jie runs to save a child and tells 13 to take Qing to the hospital. Later, they all gather in the recovery area. Qing is still alive, covered in bandages inside a healing pod. 13 feels guilty, but Lin Jie tells him to stop blaming himself. He still wants him to join their team. Qing and Zhanchen agree, but they say 13 should keep some distance for safety. Lin Jie doesn't mind being close to his unlucky new friend. A few days later, Qing recovered and Lin Jie and 13 are playing cards at a table. Zhanchen walks in holding a letter. Lin Jie asks if he finally got a love confession. Zhanchen says he's not that lucky and takes a big breath like he's coping with sadness. Then he excitedly reveals that he got their team its very first hero mission. The team's first mission is to catch a group of criminals involved in an illegal trade. These criminals are mostly C-rank mercenaries, but lately, strange accidents have been happening to them. Because of this, many are quitting the group. The heroes wait in a nearby building. 13 watches the criminals while Lin Jie and Zhanchen relax on the rooftop eating bacon and beef jerky. They all know these accidents are caused by 13's bad luck power, so they decide to let him keep following the gang for a few days. They believe his curse will wipe out the criminals without them needing to fight. Zhanchen worries they won't get credit or rewards from the Hero Association unless they actually take action. Meanwhile, Qing becomes their errand boy, bringing snacks and equipment. 13 then shares important news. He says today the criminals are trading a dangerous secret item. So this time, they must stop them during the deal. 13 reports that the two groups have finally met and Qing arrives on the rooftop with their gear. Down below, the two gangs begin the deal. One side asks to see the product before paying. The sellers agree and bring out a huge blob of brown slime mixed with water and filth. It has become a living monster that they control with a remote. They show off its size and power. The buyers seem impressed and prepare for the deal. At that moment, Qing appears and announces their arrest under Hero Association law. He introduces his teammates, 13 the unlucky ghost and Lin Jie. Just then, Zhanchen crashes from the sky and knocks himself out on the pavement. The buyer shouts at his men to shoot, but Qing quickly throws a handful of glasses on the ground and teleports to take all their guns. He returns to 13 with the weapons. The seller then uses the remote to command the slime monster to attack. 13 shoots at the monster with a machine gun, slowly reducing its health. Then he throws a spicy bacon strip into the creature's mouth. It likes the taste and begins chasing them for more. They run toward Lin Jie and ask for help. Lin Jie swings his club and smashes the monster like a baseball into the city. The slime lands in a busy food street and starts spraying stinky water at people. Lin Jie rushes over and smacks it again. The impact causes slime to fly everywhere. People get angry about getting covered in filth. Zhanchen arrives and asks Lin Jie if he plans to destroy the whole street. Then he says he will handle the monster himself. He shows his weapon, which is a water purifier, and charges in using his rocket boots. But he forgets to use enough force and barely scratches the monster. Lin Jie pulls him out and saves him. Zhanchen insists he's ready now. He adjusts his weapon and gets serious. The slime sends out sticky tentacles, but Zhanchen dodges all attacks with cool moves. He finishes the fight by stabbing the monster with his long weapon. The dirty creature turns into clean, shining water that smells nice and makes everyone's skin feel soft. The crowd cheers. Soon, Qing and 13 arrive and see people gathering around Lin Jie. Lin Jie tells them he did nothing and points at Zhanchen, saying he's the true hero. Later that evening, the team returns to their hideout. They sit together, disappointed by the small amount of experience points they received, even though they defeated 2 criminal groups in one mission. Qing says it might be because of a strange girl they met earlier. Lin Jie tried to ask for her name, but she didn't speak. She only drank her juice in silence. Qing and Zhanchen discuss what to do with her. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. It's Manyu, the number 3 ranked hero. She enters, plays with the girl, and congratulates the team for completing their first mission. Lin Jie asks her to stop avoiding the real topic and explain who the girl is. Manyu hands them a USB drive. They plug it into the screen. She explains that years ago, a company called Genetic Evolution opened many fake charity homes for orphans around the world. But instead of helping them, they used the children for secret experiments. The girl they rescued is the only survivor. All the other kids died during testing. Lin Jie becomes furious, he stands up, and his power begins to rise. He asks why the Hero Association has never stopped such evil acts. But then he remembers that he's no longer Zero and tries to calm down. He apologizes for getting too angry. Manyu continues. She says that the Hero Association has been investigating rival companies for years, but no progress has been made. She did her own research and found out the truth. These evil companies have support from high-ranking people inside the Hero Association itself. In fact, the person truly responsible for everything is the current president of the Hero Association, Rue. Manyu tells the group that the little girl they rescued is very special to Rue and the Genetic Evolution Company. The next morning, Lin Jie and the others take the girl out shopping. Lin Jie also invites his sister Wan to help buy things for her. Wan asks where he found the child. Lin Jie tells her that he didn't kidnap anyone and explains how he rescued her during a mission. He says the girl has no family, no home, and no one to protect her. Wan's heart softens. She hugs the girl and checks if Lin Jie has hurt her. Then she takes her to buy food and clothes. Lin Jie says she can take her time while he stays nearby with his friends. Soon after they leave, Lin Jie and the boys notice the Diamond Triangle brothers are following them. The heroes move into a back alley where the brothers confront them. They say that Manyu is wanted by the organization and that President Rue sent them to bring her in for questioning. Lin Jie refuses and says they're not going anywhere. A fight begins. The Diamond Triangle brothers are confident because 13 isn't there, but Qing knocks them out in seconds and calls them weaklings. Zhanchen suddenly remembers Wan and the girl. They all rush back. When they find Wan again, Lin Jie tells her that it's best to return home for now because someone dangerous might come looking for the girl. Wan calls out for the girl, who comes out wearing her new dress. Wan asks Lin Jie if the girl, now called Mumu, can stay at her house. She promises to protect and care for her like family. Lin Jie looks at his friends. They say it's a good idea because Lin Jie is the strongest, and Mumu will be safest near him. Lin Jie agrees and heads home with his sister. At the Hero Association HQ, President Rue complains about the failure of the last team. He says they couldn't even catch a group of low-ranked heroes. A shady man sitting nearby tells Rue to stop whining. He says he will send his own men this time and make sure those E-rank heroes are gone for good. Later that night, Zhanchen is at home when a female ninja sneaks in. She mistakes a mannequin for a corpse and starts screaming. She looks up and sees a wall filled with heads that all have weird rods in their mouths. Zhanchen walks in and asks what she's doing. The ninja forces one of the rods into his mouth and says he will die using his own weapon. Zhanchen cries out, but it turns out the rod is just a high-tech toothbrush he invented for hero use. Then the ninja grabs a handle that looks like a lightsaber and activates it. A bright plasma blade comes out. She attacks Zhanchen with it, but again, it's just another of his gadgets. This one cleans the body but also destroys clothes due to a glitch. The girl panics after realizing Zhan Chen is full of strange inventions and runs away, saying she can't deal with such a weirdo. Meanwhile, Lin Jie is relaxing at home when he senses someone watching from the woods. He appears behind the spy in a flash. It turns out to be a top A rank killer from the Hero Association. The man turns his hands into blades and attacks, but Lin Jie knocks him out with one hit. The assassin injects a serum and turns into a monster with S-rank power. He teleports behind Lin Jie and tries to punch him, but Lin Jie breaks his arm easily. The monster backs away and heals his arm. He keeps attacking, but Lin Jie dodges every move and knocks him down again with a single punch. As Lin Jie starts to leave, the assassin says that even if he loses, he can still regenerate and will return again and again. He threatens to hurt Lin Jie's sister someday. Lin Jie stops walking. His eyes fill with rage. He says that was a mistake. He pulls out his club, transforms it into a sword, and swings once. The attack completely destroys the monster and the entire mountain behind him. Lin Jie says no one will ever hurt someone under his protection again. He then heads home. Later, Lin Jie thinks about what Manyu said. She mentioned that in 3 days, President Rue is going to meet with the people from genetic evolution. It will be a rare chance to catch all of them together and finally bring them down. Lin Jie remembers everything that has happened and feels disappointed with the current state of heroes. Most of them now only care about fame and money. He believes real heroes should protect others with selfless sacrifice. He makes a strong decision to bring back the true meaning of being a hero and promises himself that he will fight in the next mission to stop corrupt people like Rue. The next morning, Lin Jie, Zhen Chen, and Qing go to Manyu's secret base. There, she explains their plan. Rue is going to meet the people from the Genetic Evolution Company tonight. They must catch them all at once. To make the plan stronger, Manyu has invited some A-rank heroes from B City. Among them are the ice user Xiao Yi and the powerful group called Muscle League. She warns them that if they fail tonight, the dangerous drug made by the company will spread everywhere. That drug gives people extreme power, and if it ends up in the wrong hands, it will bring disaster. Lin Jie looks at Xiao Yi and calls her short. Xiao Yi gets mad and starts a fight. She also makes fun of Qing by calling him a frog and kicks him. Manyu tries to stop the argument and reminds everyone that Lin Jie was the one who broke Rue's defenses before. Xiao Yi asks Qing why he's even part of this mission. Qing explains that Rue knows where he lives and he can't go home safely unless Rue is stopped. Manyu also mentions that because of 13's bad luck, they already managed to destroy the company's headquarters in a city, and now is not the time for team fights. They need to stay united or the whole mission will fail. That night, the whole team gathers and heads to the meeting location. Rue is already there, waiting to meet the people from the Genetic Evolution Company. The members of the Muscle League are also there and start getting excited when they see Lin Jie's arms. Without waiting for Manyu's command, they rush into battle. Zhen Chen follows them too. Rue calls his men to attack, but Lin Jie quickly steps in to fight him directly. Meanwhile, a helicopter arrives and picks up Gainan. Manyu asks Xiao Yi to stop the escape. Xiao Yi uses her ice attack to shoot the helicopter down, but an enemy sniper hits her and knocks her down too. Qing runs to help Xiao Yi. The sniper turns out to be Li, the #1 hero in the city, who can control the direction of bullets. Manyu tells Lin Jie to go after Gainan while she deals with Rue herself. Lin Jie heads to where the helicopter crashed and finds Gainan waiting. Gainan is the same mysterious man who sent killers after them before. Suddenly, the female ninja Yin appears and tries to attack Lin Jie. He easily blocks all her moves and throws her back toward Gainan. Zhen Chen shows up and starts fighting Yin. They exchange many strikes. After a strong hit, Zhen Chen knocks her down. She stands back up and he asks her to join their side. Yin refuses and says she will never work for a spoiled rich guy like him. She attacks again, slashing wildly with her blades. Zhen Chen jumps back to avoid them, but one blade manages to cut him. Zhen Chen stands back up, even though he is hurt. Yin moves in to finish him, but he tells her to stop and talk. She says there is nothing left to say, but he calmly explains the situation. He tells her that he can give her more than just money. He can give her a new life where she doesn't need to kill anyone. She doesn't trust him and says if she kills him, she gets her freedom. But Zhen Chen uses his words and his rich background to convince her. He says that if she keeps killing, she will never be free. One day, someone stronger will catch her, and she will be used again. He says there are only a few real heroes left, and she still has a choice to become one. He lets himself bleed, walks toward her, and gives her a moment to decide. She drops her weapon and rests her head on his chest. Meanwhile, Qing finds Xiao Yi and asks if she is okay. She pushes him away and puts up an ice shield to stop the bullets coming from Li. One bullet breaks through, and she falls, but Qing catches her and teleports into the forest. Using his smart thinking, he studies the bullet direction and distance and figures out Li's location. He tells Xiao Yi to freeze him. She does, and Li is hit, but he quickly escapes by teleporting. Xiao Yi tells Qing he is clever. They decide to go meet Manyu, but Li suddenly appears behind them. He pushes Qing off the tree and traps Xiaoyi in a force field. Then he jumps down and starts beating Qing badly. He tells Xiaoyi the force field was made by the company and it's made to torture heroes. He points his gun at her and tells her to say goodbye. Qing gets back up and tries to fight. Li beats him again and steps on him, but Qing throws a bomb-like device and forces Li to move back. Li kicks him into a tree. Qing teleports and lands a punch on Li's metal face, but it doesn't work. He just hurts his own hand. Li gets angry and starts punching him again and again until Qing falls like a doll. Qing tries one last move and explodes the bomb on Li's face, but it hurts him more than Li. Seeing Qing almost dead, Xiaoyi unleashes her full power and breaks the force field using her strongest ice move. She picks up Qing and runs away. At the same time, Lin Jie pulls out his iron club and starts fighting Gon. Gon punches the ground and creates shockwaves, but Lin Jie doesn't feel much. Gon then injects himself with a strong drug that turns him into a demon-like monster. He becomes faster and stronger. Lin Jie says he will stop holding back and use his martial arts moves. He hits Gon in the stomach with a powerful punch and knocks him out. He calls him weak and leaves. Meanwhile, Manyu fights Rue. She turns her hands into ice blades and attacks, but Rue blocks with metal shards. She hits his arm, but Rue's armor protects him. He says things are different now and punches her in the stomach and back. She falls. He grabs her by the head and asks if she regrets it. She says true heroes never regret fighting evil. She tries to attack again, but Rue breaks her blade and smashes her head into the ground. He picks her up by the neck and says this is the end. She uses her special move Ice Lotus to trap him for a moment and calls out to Lin Jie. Lin Jie appears from above and hits Rue hard with his iron club. Rue flies back. Lin Jie helps Manyu get up, and they tell Rue to surrender. But Rue uses another dose of the drug and becomes an S-level monster. He sends stronger iron spikes toward them. Manyu sees that his power has increased a lot. Rue attacks again and catches Manyu off guard, but Lin Jie blocks the attack. Then Lin Jie dashes forward and breaks Rue's defenses with another heavy strike. Rue falls to his knees and asks if Lin Jie is secretly an S-rank hero. Lin Jie says no one knows because no one has ever tested him properly. Rue teleports behind him using ancient martial arts, thinking no one can dodge it, but Lin Jie moves with perfect timing and blocks everything. He grabs Rue and throws him into the air. Rue tries to explode iron shards, but Lin Jie dodges all of them and smashes him down with his club. Manyu asks if Rue is dead, but Lin Jie says he controlled his strength and Rue will wake up after a few days. She asks again if he is really an S-rank hero, but Lin Jie says he still doesn't know. Jinchen walks in with Yin. Lin Jie teases them. Yin throws Jinchen down and says it's not what it looks like. She says she accepted his offer because of the money. Lin Jie jokes that only a rich boy like Jinchen could do that. Jinchen, still bleeding, tells them to stop joking and help him. A few days later, Jinchen and Qing rest in the hospital. Their bodies are covered in bandages as they recover from injuries. The news on TV talks about the illegal work done by the city's Hero Association, but there is no mention of their group's efforts in stopping it. Qing complains that the government is corrupt and wonders why heroes like them should stay quiet. Behind a curtain in the same room, Jinchen enjoys getting looked after by Yin. He talks about how real heroes like Zero must learn to hide their achievements and let others take credit. Just then, Lin Jie enters the room and asks Xiaoyi where her sister Manyu is. He says Manyu promised to visit him at his house but never came. At that moment, Manyu walks in and teases him for missing her. She explains that her family and Rue's family have talked things out, and now no one will get in trouble. She says the recent fight shows how much more training they all need. She even books a special training center for the whole group. Qing and Jinchen get excited, but Lin Jie says he doesn't need training because he is already stronger than everyone else. Manyu doesn't like his attitude and says a real man should always want to improve. Lin Jie replies that he can defeat all of them easily. The group takes his challenge seriously and follows him to the hospital rooftop. Lin Jie gets ready while Manyu, Xiaoyi, Jinchen, and Yin all attack him at once. Qing watches from his wheelchair. Lin Jie blocks every attack with ease and says they have no teamwork. He knocks Jinchen down, punches Xiaoyi back, and even breaks Manyu's Ice Lotus move with just one punch. Yin tries to hit him, but she also loses quickly. Lin Jie beats up Jinchen one more time just for fun. After the fight, he says goodbye and leaves to pick up his sister, Mumu. That night, when Lin Jie returns home, his sister Wen gets angry and beats him up for bringing home a street dog. Mumu wants to keep the dog, and even though Wen says no, Mumu and the puppy give her cute looks, which makes her give in. The next morning, Wen walks the dog to Dr. Qin's research institute. She plans to do tests on it and make it smarter, maybe even teach it to talk and read books. She tells Dr. Qin to help her with the experiment, but he says he is busy. At the same time, Rue's clan leader arrives to get secret data from Rue, who is now mentally broken. Dr. Qin says it's impossible. The clan leader kills Rue without emotion and says that the weak do not belong in his family. As they walk out, the new Hero Association president arrives. He is also the young master of the Handong family and the older brother of Manyu and Xiao Yi. Rue's clan leader warns him not to let Manyu cause more problems. The new president, Yong, promises to take care of it and says this is an important moment for their bigger plan. After that, Xiao Yi talks to Dr. Qin and introduces him to another scientist, Dr. Musalai, who will help with research. A few days later, Manyu and her group return from their training. They go to Hero headquarters, where the new Hero Association chairman will give a speech. Manyu meets Lin Jie and asks if he missed her, but Lin Jie ignores the question and jokes about her acting strange. Then a young man from the Shirshan family appears. He is a famous hero and singer. He calls Lin Jie his master and asks for advice on how to impress Manyu, but Lin Jie tells him to stay away from his shady habits. The ceremony starts, and Yong steps on the stage to give a speech that sounds fake and political. After the speech, 13 asks if he should request a new hero rank, but the others beat him up, saying he will just destroy the place again by accident. Meanwhile, Manyu goes backstage to speak with her brother Yong. She asks if he came to take her home, but Yong grabs her face and warns her to stop interfering with his plans. He says if she runs, he will drag her back from hell if he has to. At that moment, Lin Jie, Xinchen, Qing, 13, and the Shirshan hero walk in and stand beside Manyu. Yong recognizes Lin Jie as the one who defeated Rue and offers to let him join the family. Lin Jie politely says no. Yong replies that others who rejected him are now dead. Lin Jie smiles and says he isn't afraid of people who lie and cheat. Yong becomes angry and uses his powerful energy to make everyone feel weak, but Lin Jie stands tall and doesn't move. He tells Yong that his mind and power are as useless as his face. The scene ends with tension in the air, as Lin Jie and Yong now stand as clear enemies, and everyone around them begins to understand that a bigger fight is coming soon. Yong becomes very angry and increases the pressure on everyone in the room, but Lin Jie suddenly releases his own strong energy and sends Yong flying. Yong coughs up blood from the attack. Lin Jie calmly tells him off and returns to his friends while Yong walks away, feeling embarrassed and defeated. On the way out, the group talks about how Yong might have been working with Rue and wonder why he treats Manyu so badly. Lin Jie wants to know more, so he tells 13 to follow Manyu and ask her directly. Just then, Lin Jie gets a phone call from his sister Wen. She tells him that the dog experiment is complete and he can come pick it up. Lin Jie agrees and decides to go with Xinchen. After the call, Dr. Musalai approaches Wen and asks about her research. He becomes impressed when he sees her device that makes a dog smart enough to read and talk. He encourages her to keep up the good work. Suddenly, Wen gets stopped by Wenfang, a man who has asked her to marry him many times. She refuses again, but this time he comes with a warning. He tells her that the people supporting Dr. Qin's research are the same dangerous families as Rue's and Yong's. He says something bad might happen and begs her to leave. She realizes he's right but refuses to run away. She says she must protect Dr. Qin and walks back inside. At the same time, Lin Jie and Xinchen are heading to the research center. Lin Jie notices some people watching his sister. He grabs one of them and makes Xinchen scare her into revealing who sent her. Then they go to the rooftop and beat up the group of guards watching the building. Xinchen says those guards work for Wenfang. Lin Jie becomes furious. He thinks Wenfang sent people after his sister because she keeps rejecting him. Lin Jie vows to punish Wenfang for it. Meanwhile, Wenfang gets news that all his bodyguards were defeated and have no memory of what happened. He wonders if Xiao Yi found out he was protecting Wen and promises to keep her safe no matter what. Back at the lab, Lin Jie and Xinchen meet Wen. Lin Jie gives her a small locket with a button to call him if she ever needs help. Wen remembers how dangerous Yong and Rue's families are and decides not to drag her brother into this. She tells them to go home with the dog and says she can protect herself. On the other side of the city, 13 is watching over Manyu's mansion. A shiny car arrives, followed by robots. A blonde man steps out. He is the new young master of the Ouyang family and Manyu's fiancé. Manyu walks past him angrily and calls his family names. The man grabs her hair and throws her to the ground. He says he will punish her in cruel ways after marriage. Manyu begs him to kill her instead, but he says he wants her alive. He tells her to get into the car, but before she can, members of the Muscle League arrive, having heard her scream. They try to help her, but his robots beat them all badly. Manyu begs him to stop hurting them and offers to obey him if he lets her friends go. As she is taken into the car, she creates an ice blade and holds it to his neck. He is not afraid and catches a bullet aimed at him, throwing it back with so much power that it knocks 13 out of a tree. He then slashes 13 with a wind blade and hits Manyu too. She agrees to do what he wants if he spares her friends. He accepts and drives away with her. Once the car is far from the mansion, he orders his robots to finish off everyone who tried to stop him. 13 sees the car disappear and tries to stop the robots, but one of them walks up to him and prepares to blast him with energy. Lin Jie arrives just in time and saves 13 from being hit by the robot's energy blast. He tells 13 to step back and handles the fight himself. Using his special flaming sword that he pulls from a mysterious black hole, he cuts down the robots easily. These robots can heal themselves, so he uses the sword's power to stop them for good. Meanwhile, inside a car, Zihao, the young master of the Ouyang family, gets a message that his robots have been destroyed. He checks the camera and sees a man holding the fire spirit sword. Manyu, who is sitting beside him, calls the man Lin Jie. Zihao decides to take the sword from him and thinks of it as a gift from Manyu for their wedding. Manyu silently wonders why Lin Jie is helping her. Back at the mansion, Qing and Zhenchen arrive and inform Lin Jie about what they learned. They say that the Yong family is involved with Manyu's troubles. Lin Jie becomes very angry and says he wants to destroy their whole family, but his friends calm him down and remind him that 13 needs medical help. After sending 13 to the hospital, they gather at Jian's house to plan how to save Manyu and defeat the powerful Ouyang family. Qing is scared at first because the Ouyang family has strong robots and is known for crushing even tough fighters like 13. But Jian encourages him by saying they are heroes and must do what is right, even if the enemy is strong. Qing gains courage, and then Shin arrives. He says he wants to help Lin Jie save Manyu. They visit Yin and ask for her help. She, along with the smart dog, hacks into the Ouyang family security system. She finds the layout of their mansion and shows them where the engagement ceremony will happen the next day. Lin Jie learns that the wedding is for political reasons, to build stronger ties between powerful families. He becomes furious and says Manyu is not something people can trade. Qing reminds him that they need to act smartly and not just rush in. Zhenchen agrees and says they must avoid repeating the same mistake as last time when their attack caused more harm. He suggests that Shin lead a protest outside the mansion while Yin disables the security system. Then, he, Lin Jie, and Qing will climb over the wall and sneak inside. The next day, everything goes as planned. Lin Jie and the others sneak into the mansion. At the same time, Manyu is getting ready in her wedding dress. Her sister Xiaoyi visits and asks if she really wants to go through with this marriage. Manyu sadly says she has no choice. Zihao enters the room with another man and gets angry seeing him near Manyu. He pulls her aside and shows her the protest happening outside the mansion. He warns her not to act out or her friends will be in danger. He leaves, and Manyu feels hopeless, wishing Lin Jie doesn't do anything reckless. Back outside, Lin Jie and his group successfully enter the mansion. Qing and Zhenchen notice Lin Jie is wearing a mask and using a different weapon to hide his identity. Suddenly, Xiaoyi appears from behind. Qing reveals himself and speaks to her, but gets jealous seeing the man with her. He argues with the man, saying handsome guys like him are useless and only play with girls. Lin Jie and Zhenchen quietly leave him behind to distract the others and move ahead. Inside the mansion, they reach the bride's room but find it guarded by two men. Zhenchen insists on fighting them alone. He leads them away, clearing the path for Lin Jie to enter the room. Lin Jie meets Manyu and asks why she is still there. She says she made a promise to her family not to cause trouble, but she breaks into tears. Lin Jie hugs her and tells her that she is special to him and that he will protect her no matter what. She explains that going against the Ouyang family could bring danger to everyone, but Lin Jie says he's not afraid. He promises to fight anyone who tries to hurt her or their friends. He then smashes the wall in front of them using his powerful glaive, ready to fight whoever comes their way. Lin Jie and Manyu hold hands and decide to escape together. They jump down from the mansion and walk toward the big tree near the wall where they first came in. On the way, they find Qing being badly beaten by Zihao and two of his robots. Manyu feels afraid, but Lin Jie stays calm, gives her courage, and steps forward to face Zihao. Zihao and Lin Jie exchange harsh words and agree to settle things with a one-on-one fight. The rule is simple: if Lin Jie wins, he takes Manyu and she will be safe. But if Zihao wins, Lin Jie must help him and give up his powerful fire spirit sword. Both agree, and the match is arranged in a battle arena while the leaders of the Ouyang and Handong families watch. Zihao, full of pride, says he will show the true power of his family. He tells the others he only needs one finger to beat Lin Jie. Even though he talks big, he is actually one of the strongest young fighters in his family and must be taken seriously. But Lin Jie is not someone to fear anyone. He enters the arena with his famous weapon, the Azure Dragon's Crescent Blade, and gets ready. The fight begins. Zihao fires wind blades, but Lin Jie cuts through them and runs at him. They meet in the center and begin hand-to-hand combat. Zihao coats his arms with wind energy and fights hard, but Lin Jie is quick and skilled. When Zihao shoots a wind bullet and tries to punch him, Lin Jie dodges and punches back. Both get pushed back, showing they are equally matched at first. Zihao then unleashes a heavy storm of wind blades like a machine gun. Lin Jie blocks all of them with his glaive. When Zihao tries to sneak attack from behind, Lin Jie counters and nearly cuts him, but Zihao flies up to escape. As he looks around, he sees Lin Jie flying toward him and gets kicked down hard into the arena. Back on the ground, Lin Jie charges for the final hit. Zihao throws heavy rocks and builds layers of wind barriers to block, but it is not enough. Lin Jie pushes through, breaking the barriers one by one. Zihao tries to stop him with a strong blast, but it backfires and injures his own fingers. Lin Jie punches him in the face, sending him flying. Though hurt, Zihao stands up. But Lin Jie unleashes the dragon spirit from his blade and slashes him across the chest, saying it's payback for hurting 13. Zihao gets angry and summons a giant energy sword from the sky. He throws it at Lin Jie, but Lin Jie dodges easily and comes back down with a flying kick that sends Zihao crashing into the arena wall. Refusing to admit defeat, Zihao opens a forbidden scroll. He activates a secret technique that turns him into a huge, smelly, ugly monster surrounded by purple gas. The arena is damaged from the transformation. Manyu rushes down, joined by Shan and Qing, and they look at the disgusting new form of Zihao, wondering how he smells so bad. From the smoke, Lin Jie walks out without injury. He says he has just the right solution for Zihao. The angry Zihao fires a powerful energy beam at him, but Lin Jie blocks it with his own beam using his sword. The blast hits Zihao directly, and he falls down defeated. To remember the moment, Lin Jie takes a funny picture of Zihao's ugly face. Then he happily celebrates the victory with Manyu and his friends, ending the battle with smiles and relief. Yong secretly walks away during all the chaos, full of jealousy toward Lin Jie. He can't accept that Lin Jie is stronger and has even taken his sister's attention. Wanting to end everything, Yong decides to use a forbidden power from his clan. He sneaks into Dr. Qin's lab and starts the machine that was under development. Fang tries to stop him and protects the machine, but both he and Dr. Qin end up unconscious. Yong activates the device and transforms into a being with godlike powers, losing his humanity in the process. With his transformation complete, Yong becomes a monstrous version of someone known as filled with dark energy and sins. His new aura is so powerful that almost everyone in the area faints. However, one person still stands, Lin Jie. Yong is surprised but impressed, and he mocks the others for being weak. He then summons storm clouds and prepares to show Lin Jie what a true god's wrath looks like. A huge aura beast made of wind charges toward Lin Jie, but he punches it away easily and sends back a shockwave. Yong steps into a sunbeam, claiming to be a real god, but Lin Jie mocks him and tells him he just looks like a shiny-headed fool who needs help. Angry and humiliated, Yong demands Lin Jie to surrender or die. Lin Jie refuses, ready to fight with everything he has. Yong lifts huge stones into the air, summons tornadoes, and attacks. Lin Jie flies up with his glaive, and the two clashes in midair. After a tough battle, Yong manages to knock Lin Jie toward the ground. Before he can recover, Yong uses a spiritual attack that allows him to look deep inside Lin Jie's soul. There, Yong sees disturbing images, strong monsters, and a painful memory of Lin Jie holding a lifeless girl. The vision pushes Yong back into reality, shaken and confused. Lin Jie then starts to change. He says he won't let his past happen again and transforms into his true form, the legendary hero known as Zero. Yong is shocked and refuses to believe it. He attacks Zero with everything he has, but Zero uses a dark sword and cuts through the storm clouds and energy attacks. Yong's arm gets badly injured, but he doesn't give up. He summons a giant energy titan and uses it to crush Zero. Zero calmly lands in the titan's hand, raises his black blade, and says he hasn't used this move in years. Yong tries to clap his hands and crush him, but Zero activates a powerful technique called Judgment. A dark energy wave explodes and destroys Yong's energy titan, sending him crashing down to Earth. Bruised and crying, Yong says he still won't lose, even to Zero. He gets up again and yells that he'll never give up. Zero then uses his strongest move, the first form of Judgment, and shoots a deadly red energy beam. It is so powerful that it cuts through Earth's skies and is visible from space. Yong tries to survive it, but the attack hits him directly. He stands up one last time and prepares for a final strike, but Zero appears behind him. Holding his black sword, Zero explains that the blade can even slice through the spirit world and that true strength isn't the answer to everything. Yong keeps claiming that he is the strongest and knows nothing about weakness. Zero agrees slightly but shows that there's more to life than just power. He then unleashes a second move called Redemption. It cuts through Yong's dark core and completely erases his divine energy, ending the fight for good. After Zero destroys Yong's evil core with his dark sword, Yong falls to the ground. His life slowly fades away. Zero changes back into Lin Jie and quietly looks up at the clear sky. Yong, now weak and defeated, admits that he is not as strong as Lin Jie. Lin Jie gently asks him to remember why he wanted power in the first place. Yong starts to recall his childhood dream. Back then, he only wanted to become a hero who could protect people and create a peaceful world with no violence. He believed that strength was needed to make that dream real, but somewhere along the way, he lost sight of that purpose and became someone who caused pain instead of stopping it. As they talk, Lin Jie takes off his shirt and shows his body, which is covered in scars. He begins to explain the story behind each one. The large scar on his chest came from being stabbed by a legendary sword called the Celestial Executioner, part of the 13 formations. Another scar on his shoulder was caused by an alien attack. The one on his wrist came from a strange and mysterious event. The scar on his back was left by a battle with a god from another world. Lin Jie says that after fighting so many powerful enemies, his body changed so much that he barely recognized himself anymore. Only his hands and face remained untouched. Because of that, he avoids talking about these scars, especially in front of his little sister. Listening to this, Yong smiles. He realizes that no normal human could ever imagine the kind of battles Lin Jie went through 5 years ago to protect the world. Then, Yong asks about the girl he saw when he entered Lin Jie's soul. Lin Jie doesn't answer and simply says he left the name Zero behind a long time ago. As Yong's body disappears and his spirit leaves, he asks why Lin Jie is still registered as a hero. Lin Jie replies that only a higher power knows the answer because he truly doesn't understand it himself. He says he no longer fights for glory but only lifts his sword when it's for redemption. After Yong's spirit fades away completely, Lin Jie walks to the research lab to check on his younger sister, Wan. He sits quietly beside her, watching over her. A while later, Fang wakes up and sees that Wan is safe. He smiles with relief but notices his own hands are cuffed. Confused, he wonders what has just happened. Just then, Lin Jie receives a message from Manyu and heads to a nearby bridge to meet her. While he waits, he starts thinking about everything that has happened, how he first met Manyu and all the events that followed. Manyu finally arrives and tells him that she has decided to leave. She's going to become a teacher at Hero Academy in District M, a dangerous area full of criminals. Lin Jie asks her if it's worth all the risk. She replies that he was the reason she found her purpose. Before leaving, she surprises him with a kiss, saying that she has one last thing to do. Lin Jie looks up at the sky, thinking about the future and what comes next. Meanwhile, far away in a high-security prison, a mysterious man with a metal arm laughs inside his isolated cell. He feels the same energy he once knew, the energy of Zero. He grins and says that the time will come soon when he meets him again. That's it for today, my fellow men of culture. Make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more.